friends and family, guys. In case you didn't know, I am the post commander of the Hilliard VFW, and as soon as we adjourn, I was planning on going and getting a beverage. So you're invited to come along with if you'd like. Now, we thought that it was very fitting and appropriate that since we are in the city of Spokane, in Council District 1, Northeast Spokane, and Hilliard, my home, I asked for the opportunity to welcome everybody tonight. So, welcome to Hilliard, everybody. Giving up the time, making the time to come on down here and participate in a very, very important function for sure. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Vice Chair. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Do we have a credentials report? Yep, one question, credential chair.
Thank you very much. So we were requiring 87 to have a solid 40% quorum. We got 106. So we have
Thank you very much, and thank all of you for being here. As you know, we have important business to get to, but there's just two things that I want to make sure that you're aware of. Upcoming, gonna be better?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey. How's it going, everybody? All right. Just a couple of things that are upcoming that I want to make sure that you are aware of. Love for you to participate in. The first is this, that filing week. How many of you know that filing week is 2 weeks away? Yep. And how many of you know that if you're a PCO and you want to be PCO for the 2019-2020 term, that you need to file again the second week of May? Okay, great. So I want to make sure that you know that. There's some confusion kind of every 2 years. Do I have to re-up? If you want to participate in the December reorganizational meeting, you need to be a duly elected precinct committee officer. So make sure that you register to do that in that filing week, that second week of May. It's also going to give us a clear picture of who our campaigns, or who our Republican candidates are going to be, and the campaigns that are going to be happening this year. So make sure that you pay attention during that week as well to the campaigns that are going to be going on. Ask yourself, ask those around you, how you can be a part of getting our conservative Republican candidates elected this November. It's going to be an interesting year. It's going to take all of us working together to make that happen. Another way that we can help our candidates and help the party as well is our Lincoln Day. That's June 2nd. So make sure that you sign up and go to our website, get your ticket now for that event. We'd love to have you there. Invite your friends. It's going to be a fun event. It's going to be a great event for us all to be together. As well, it's going to help us advance our Republican cause in this county and help get conservative Republicans elected. Sound good? Correct, yeah. Jason Chaffetz, former congressman and Fox News contributor, is our main speaker. All that information is on our website. Make sure that you check that out and are a part of that. You can share that as well on Facebook, so it's a great way to invite your social media network to be a part of that event with you. All right, now we have our credentials report, and we do have one. We can move on to, yeah. Yeah. Great, so we have just one. We have one late arrival, so it's up to you as a body. If you would, I'd ask you to accept our late arrival into the voting body tonight. Move. Second. Okay.
Sorry, what's your piece number?
4015. Thank you. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Okay, 107 is now the count. Thank you. Okay, now we're moving on to rules adoption. So we have the rules that were mailed to you and emailed as well. We have a copy of that in front of you. We'll be considering adopting these rules for our meeting this evening. To entertain a motion to adopt the rules as presented to you.
I move we adopt the rules.
Thank you. Is there a second? Can you get your PCO number? Yeah, State Committee Woman Bevin Miles. Who was the second? Yep. 3119, CJ Meyer. our wonderful secretary, Jessica Hay. Thank you. Parliamentarian Jim Kaufman over at that table as well. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the rules as presented. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we're going to vote. All those in favor of adopting the rules as presented, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstention? No? Great. So we will move on now at this point to the nominations section of our meeting. Nomination and election of chair, item 7. We'll open the floor for nominations. Yes?
Mr. Chair, John Christina, PCL 7027. I proudly nominate Cecily White for chair of the Civil Committee's Executive Board. I know Cecily from her early days.
Actually, John, let's do, sorry to cut you off. Let's do nominations and then we'll do the speeches after.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
They need to go up.
Yeah, we'll have you come up and speak in the mic as well. There's just the one mic here this evening. Yes, Mr. Don.
Vice Chair, do we need to accept the agenda?
What do you have?
We certainly can, yeah. It's, it wasn't on the agenda to accept the agenda, so I skipped over it. But, sure, Mr. Bylaws Chair. This is why he's our Bylaws Chair. So, let's go ahead and do that. Is that a motion to accept the agenda as well, Mr. O'Donnell?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Tracy O'Donnell, 6101.
6101. Thank you, Tracy. All those in favor of adopting the agenda as presented to you, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, now we will move on to nomination and election of chair. We have a nomination from John Christina for Cecily Wright. Is there a second to that nomination? Okay. Thank you, Don. Okay. Cecily Wright has been nominated. Are there any other nominations?
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Stephanie Page, precinct 3200. I'd like to nominate Stanley Easter.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a second?
Sure. I challenge that nomination, just on our bylaws.
Okay. Let's see if there's a second first, and then we can.
Sorry, can you 6217? I second the nomination of Stanley Easter.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, now if you would. Yep.
Sound in case. Go forward.
Can we please have a microphone?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah,
We'll do our best to pass the yes.
pass the microphone.
I'm just challenging the validity of a male filling the role right now. I think it's in violation of our bylaws.
Okay, so, yeah, is there, give me 1 second.
No.
Say that what? Yeah. It's got one on both sides. It's got a Mike and a Nancy. Crazy.
Okay, I wanted to check if that sort of motion needs a second. I know it's a procedural, but I think just to be safe, is there a second to that? Okay, thank you.
Warren Cecily, PCL 3124.
Okay. So probably most of you have been debating amongst yourselves or seen email chains about this issue. Here's where we stand. There are competing interpretations of these bylaws, and from my vantage point, there are fair arguments on both sides. The bylaws belong to you, the central committee, right? This is the body that could, at a duly called meeting, change these bylaws. And so a ruling on this, I don't know that I can say one way or another because there is a fair argument. So I think I'd like to leave it open to this body to make that decision. If I were to make a ruling, it would take a 2/3 majority to sustain or overrule. I'd rather see discussion and a motion brought forward from this body to, to address the interpretation of the bylaw in this case.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. O'Donnell, you came up earlier. Did you have something?
My fellow PCOs, I am the bylaws chair, Val O'Donnell, precinct 7031. And I have not yet heard a motion. I haven't heard a motion.
Are you making a motion or no?
Okay.
The motion is that we have the body of PCOs listen to debate on the issue of 6.1.1 to determine whether a male will be allowed as a nominee for the office of chair at this time.
I would second that motion, but in order to vote on a motion to debate 6.1.1, and it's a bylaw approved by this body, I think we should hear what it says first.
Okay. Do you have that, Jess?
It's right there on the page.
No, do you have the motion as it was made, if you need it repeated? So can you restate that one more time? Or if you would, actually, if you want to come up to the secretary and just make sure we have that accurately. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Okay, yeah, I have spoken with our parliamentarian. The request is to have the parliamentarian speak on this issue as well. Is that something you want to? Just your okay.
Are we going to be out of order as far as making a change to our bylaws?
We're not changing the bylaws. We cannot. So we cannot make a change to the bylaws. It wasn't in the scope of this meeting that's been called. The only scope of this meeting is to elect a new chair. As well, following the meeting, we'll be addressing a district leader. We're not. We're attempting to interpret the bylaws. There's a case to be made on either side of this issue. We've heard from our state party, from the legal team there, that they would say if we want to move forward with the male chair that we could. They've had 2 instances where they've done something similar. I think Sir Donald might address that, but they've done something similar, and they've advised us that would be open to this body. But it's a contentious point. So I think it's this body that needs to decide how are we going to interpret the bylaws and the rules that we've put forward and agreed to through this. It's an interpretation of the bylaws. It's not black and white. At least that's my ruling as acting chair at this point. Sir. Yeah. Val, if you would, I'm going to read the bylaw just so that we can all be on the same page, and then Ms. Miles, as the maker of the motion, has first right to speak on the motion if she wishes. So, Article 6.1.1 is that the county chair and the county vice chair should be of opposite gender, as shall be the state committee man and state committee woman. The issue is that whether or not that pertains to the December reorganizational meeting only, or if that also pertains to filling out the rest of the term.
Isn't that crazy?
So, that's ridiculous. You can disagree with due respect. Ms. Moss?
As Chair of Policy and Procedure, is this echoing back down here? Down here? We're good? Okay. As Chair of Policy and Procedures, as well as someone who is an ardent student of Robert's Rules, I want to go back to not opinion, because I get really tired of hearing everybody's opinions on things. What we need to do is look at what they actually say. Robert's Rules states very clearly that bylaws are not to be interpreted. They are to be taken at face value. Our bylaws state one man, one woman. It doesn't say unless you do this, or in case of that, or if somebody else has a problem with it. It says one man, one woman. You're going to hear an argument concerning the fact that the state has given us some input on this. We had a little event a couple of weeks ago that if you missed out on a really great event. So I hope you had all been there. But at that event, I was able to pull Caleb Heimlich, chair of the WSRP, aside and ask him about it. It was our National Committee woman, Freddie Simpson, that offered an opinion on whether or not we could have a male come in. I asked Caleb at that time, was she made aware, or were the attorneys made aware, that we are a corporation? We are the only county in the state of Washington that is incorporated. We have articles of incorporation. We have our bylaws. We are bound by those and those alone. The state has also determined that in their case, their attorneys stated that it was not a violation. That's fine, and I have the utmost respect for all of our leaders in the WSRP. I will disagree with them on this. They were not given the full information. So in that regards, we have to decide if we are going to be a group of laws, or if we're just going to interpret at will what we think it needs to happen, because that's what we want to happen that time.
Thank you. So we're going to follow as much as we can the debate format of point counterpoint, right? So the next speaker, if there is one, would be arguing against the motion. Sure. If you would say your name and your precinct number as well.
Brad Johnson, 6020. I'm reading off the RCWs, which is the laws of the state of Washington, and it says in the last paragraph, it says, at its organization meeting, the county central committee shall elect a chair and a vice chair of opposite sex. This is not an organizational meeting. That is only done once a year. Therefore, we should be allowed to elect a person of any sex to fill the remaining term of this election. If we just go by this one, we're going to be electing somebody, and I think we should open it up and have a general election, and whoever gets the most votes wins and carries on. But if we go by using these rules, then everybody's going to wonder, would they really be our chair? And we would have just a weak chair.
Thank you, sir. Again, if you wish to make a comment, you can be recognized by the chair and have the microphone. Mr. O'Donnell.
Again, my name is Val O'Donnell, precinct 7031. I'm also the bylaws committee chair for the SCRCC. That's you. As the bylaws committee chair, I feel that I have to weigh in on this, on whether or not only a woman may be nominated and elected as chair of the Spokane County Republican Party, better known as the SCRCC. Following is my evaluation and opinion concerning this matter. There are 3 documents that we must take into consideration. One of them has already been mentioned, the RCW, the Revised Code of Washington. The second one is the Washington State Republican Party WSRP bylaws, and the third is our own SCRCC bylaws. Number 1, the RCW is the law of Washington State. As such, it establishes political parties in RCW 29A.80.010 and authorizes each political party to adopt its own rules. Quote, each political party organization may adopt rules governing its own organization and the non-statutory, that's an important word, functions of that organization. Second, in the RCW 298.80.030, County Central Committee organization meetings requires that, quote, the County Central, I don't need to read this because it's already been read. No, it wasn't read in its entirety. I didn't need to read it. Quote, the County Central Committee of each major political party consists of the precinct committee officers of the party from the several voting precincts of the county. That's you. Following each state general election held in even-numbered years, this committee shall meet for the purpose of organization at an easily accessible location within the county, subsequent to the certification of the precinct committee officers by the county auditor, and no later than the second Saturday of the following January. The authorized officers of the retiring committee shall cause notice of the time and place of the meeting to be mailed to each precinct committee officer at least 72 hours before the date of the meeting. At its organization meeting, the County Central Committee shall elect a chair and a vice chair of opposite sexes. Please note that this RCW section applies to organization meetings. It is moot concerning the need to replace a county chair or vice chair between organization meetings. This is the position that we find ourselves in. So it's my opinion that this RCW does not apply to our current situation. Number two, the WSRP bylaws. The WSRP bylaws Article 6 discusses election and term of officers of the WSRP. Article 6.1 is titled Nomination and Election of State Chairman and Vice Chairman. States, quote, all nominations for state chairman and state vice chairman to be elected by the state committee shall be called for and made from the floor. The chairman and vice chairman must be of opposite sexes. WSRP Article 6.3, vacancies, removal. Quote, when a vacancy occurs in the office of a state chairman or vice chairman, the state committee shall meet within 90 days to fill the unexpired term in the manner described in Article 6.1. I just read 6.1, and it says that the chair and the vice chair must be of opposite sexes. These articles do not address what circumstances they apply to, whether the organization meeting required by the RCW, or any instance where there is a need to elect a new chair or vice chair between organizational meetings. Third, our bylaws, the SCRCC bylaws. There are several articles in the SCRCC bylaws which pertain to this situation. Article 4.1, organization meetings, and therefore concerns organizational meetings, and therefore does not apply in this situation. The situation we currently find ourselves in, filling a vacancy created by a resignation, but only to a biannual organization meeting. Article 6.1.1 says very clearly, quote, the county chair and county vice chair shall be of opposite gender, as shall the state committeeman and state committeewoman, end quote. Article 9.1 says, quote, an office will become vacant by death, resignation, or removal from office of the person holding such office, or the absence of a candidate for that office, end quote. Article 9.3 says Central Committee officer vacancies, quote, when a vacancy occurs in the office of county chair, vice chair, state committeeman, or state committeewoman, a special meeting of the Central Committee shall be called within 30 days of such vacancy as provided in these bylaws for the purpose of filling that vacancy, and that is why we are here tonight. The term of the person filling such vacancy shall be for the unexpired term of the position. Therefore, based on these documents, it is my opinion that we are only able to elect a female for the position of county chair.
Thank you, Mr. Down. Is there someone to speak to the con?
Point of information,
Sure.
and excuse the inquiry here, but
Microphone.
And identify yourself, please.
Fine, my name's Blair Strong, I'm PCO 6336. I have a point of information, and it's an inquiry to somebody who may know. Somebody previously said this evening that we, as a body, are incorporated. If that's the case, we are governed by the Articles of Incorporation, which in my understanding is like the Constitution of our committee, and the bylaws are like laws or ordinances. Does anyone know whether the Articles of Incorporation specify in any detail how these elections are to be conducted and who's to be elected in the situation we face tonight?
Yeah, Ms. Miles, if you have it up.
Our Articles of Incorporation do not specify how these elections shall be run. They do specify, however, that we adhere to our bylaws. That's why I was stating that the state party wasn't given that information when they made their ruling. It makes all the difference in the world.
I have the Articles of Incorporation.
Sure, if someone would like to see it, the Articles of Incorporation will be brought up to the dais.
Susan Wilmeth, PCO 6023. I would stand before you and say this. Yes, our bylaws specify male, female. The state party has set a precedence in 2 separate elections where we have had a change of male, female, and the vice chair remained. We currently have, in fact, a male chair with the resignation of Susan Hutchison and the election of Caleb Heidema, and Grant Peterson remains as vice chair. I'm not going to make any judgment on this, folks, and I'm not going to say that we are going to make the right decision or the wrong decision. What I'm going to say is this: let's have a fair election. Let's not set ourselves up to be challenged at the state party level in recognition of the chair we elect. From my perception, if there's somebody that wants to run for chair, let him run. Let's vote on it, let's put it before the PCOs, and let's let the PCOs decide. Let's not, thank you. God forbid it should be about the PCOs, right? From my perspective, we are not going against our bylaws when the state party has set a precedence, because we do follow under the RCWs, under the state bylaws, and then our bylaws. And yes, we are a corporation, and we have a responsibility to follow that. However, do we want to have a fair and honest election where we present the best people that we can? In my opinion, as a former state committee woman, I say let's just cut our edges, bring forward anybody who wants to run, bring it before the people, and the vote of the people, the vote of the PCOs will take precedence, in my opinion.
Thank you. Is there any more debate on this issue? Yeah, if you come up front. Correct. Yep. Name and precinct number.
3C, I'm in 3212, Martin Hauser. There's a little problem here. We're incorporated under the laws of the state of Washington. We've got to follow our bylaws. Seattle can do what Seattle does. They may not even be incorporated in this particular situation. But let's follow our bylaws and go where we want to go. Added to that, in my opinion, let's stay with the women running. Another woman, there's certainly a couple of women around here that can certainly throw their hat in the ring. Let's go with that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm not recognizing myself, I was conferencing, apologies.
Joe Collins, 4446. The only thing that bothers me about this whole thing is we don't need to be the party of the gray area, okay? We're a black and white party, all right? Right and wrong. So let's follow the rules.
Gary Edwards, 4030. Just want to make something very obvious. Maybe this is a point where we can also make a distinction between Republicans and Democrats. Under the laws of the state now, as I understand, it's been explained by our liberal friends, a boy can decide he's a girl at a moment's notice and go into the girls. I would suggest that we use the more traditional approach of the way they were anatomically born.
Thank you, Matt Shea, 4438. Just not 3 weeks ago, the Washington State Supreme Court ruled on this, or a very similar issue to this, regarding gender, regarding the Republican Party. And that court ruling was very clear that the bylaws are what we follow. There's no argument about that. That's what they're supposed to defer to. On top of that, about 50 years of precedent in regards to corporate law says the bylaws are what we're supposed to follow, and that's what I think we need to follow, and therefore I want to call the question. Thank you.
Question been called, is there a second?
Second.
Second, for Thompson, 6203.
Do you have one of those? Okay. Okay. Yep, as a maker of the motion, Bev, if you'd like to.
As it was pointed out to me, one of the reasons that we have the argument and the disagreement within this party is that we have broken the rules so many times we no longer know what our boundaries are.
Right.
Can we please look at the rules? Now, if you want to vote against the rules, know that you're voting against the rules. But as our former state committee woman stated, she knows the rules say that, but she would just ask us to just not pay attention to them. I am asking you to pay very clear attention to the fact that they say one man, one woman. Isaiah is clearly a good-looking male. He is vice chair. That means we need a woman.
Okay, it's been called and seconded to call, it's been motion seconded to call the question. So this is to end debate on this subject, okay? We're voting to end debate. All those in favor to end debate, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, will you restate your motion for us one more time as well? And we'll vote on the main motion.
The question is, shall we allow a male to be nominated for this office, knowing that the opposite gender rule would be broken?
And or no.
Okay.
I object to the characterization of the motion. The original motion did not say that the bylaws would be broken. And this is a characterization of the motion, which has inserted at this point in the discussion. That's what we're having a vote about our view of whether the bylaws are going to be broken or not if we accept a male nominee. And so I think the motion ought to be corrected as it was originally stated.
Yep, I agree with that. I'll hold that. Point of order. Okay, so the motion. Yeah, so the motion is concerning bylaws 6.1.1. Shall the Central Committee allow a male to be nominated for the position of chair?
Motion is a question.
Yeah, the way it was phrased, that to consider the question, shall a male be allowed to be nominated for the position of chair? Right? Is everyone clear? So if you're voting yay, you're saying that a male should be allowed to be nominated. If you vote nay, then you are against a male being nominated for chair at this meeting this evening. Thank you. Is that clear? A yay vote is signifying that you agree that a male should be allowed to be nominated at this meeting. A nay vote is that no, a male shall not be permitted to be nominated at this meeting. Are we clear now? Okay, good. Okay, I just want to, I think we're going to vote by a raise of hands so we can count and be sure, because I'm sure you guys will all yell louder than just one vote. So, thank you. Our tellers would come and help count. Appreciate doing that. So, all those in favor, please raise your hand that yes, a male shall be allowed to be nominated for chair. Okay, you can put your hands down. Okay, all those opposed, can you please raise your hand? Yeah, I think it's clear, so the nays have it. Okay, thank you for civilly debating this motion. I think it's a point of contention, and I think both sides deserve to be heard, and this body be the one who decides on that issue. Okay, we have 3 additional late arrivals. Ask this body to, they've been here and heard the debate. We just didn't interrupt debate. If you would, I'll accept a motion to allow those, the 3 late arrivals to be a part of the vote. In bed. Can you say, give your precinct numbers, please? Okay, thank you.
As a question before they vote, how long ago did they get here? What was the time?
They had arrived shortly.
Microphone, we can't hear you.
Sorry.
They had arrived just shortly after we had had the first vote in, just as the motion was brought forward. So they've been sitting back there, quiet and polite. The reality is, folks, it's on you, however you choose to do this, but this is a new place and a new location. Some people just got lost on the way here. That's what it really comes down to. It wasn't that they didn't try to get here on time. Okay? I know.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we allow these 3 late arrivals. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. All right, if you aye votes, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. All opposed? Ayes have it. See, that's why we didn't do voice vote before. It sounded equal, but it wasn't. All right, so we are back to our nominations. We have 1 candidate who's been nominated at this point. I will hear any other nominations for the position of chair. Okay, we're still in nomination phase, so we can't do that yet. That'd be jumping the gun. So we need to make sure there aren't any other nominations, and then we can address the issue of how we proceed. vis-a-vis the rules. Are there any other nominations for the position of chair? Okay, one more time. Are there any other nominations for the position of chair? Okay. Yes.
PCO 3110, I nominate Debbie Shaw.
Second.
Is there a second? Name and, I heard one, but name and precinct number? Is there a second?
Second, Garrett Brown, PCO 702.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Okay, there are now 2 nominees. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations for the position of chair? Okay, nominations are now closed. So we'll go in the order nominated, and as per the rules, Ms. Christina, if you would, come up front and give your nominating speech, and the second, if you'd also come up front and be ready to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, John Christina, BCO 7027. Mr. Chair, I proudly nominate Cecily Wright for Chair of the Central Committee's Executive Board. I've known Cecily from her early days of activism in local Tea Party organizations, as well as in our party, almost 10 years now. And I must tell you how impressed I am with her leadership and organizational abilities. We've worked on many committees together, both inside and outside the party. Her ability to plan and organize, and her keen eye for detail has ensured a successful outcome every time. Whether it's working on credentials, here we go. Test. Let's see. We've worked on many committees together, both inside and outside the party. Her ability to plan and organize, and her keen eye for detail has ensured a successful outcome every time. Whether it's working on credentials, revising the bylaws, writing the rules, crafting a party platform, or working Lincoln Day, Cecily's done it all, and she's done it extremely well. And it's this extensive experience in all areas of local party activities that will make her a great chair for our party. Now is not the time for inexperience. We need a chair who can hit the ground running, someone who knows what needs to be done, has the time and talent to get it done, and is not afraid to roll up her sleeves and make it happen. Cecily is totally dedicated to getting Republicans elected to office, everyone from Kathy McMorris Rogers down to the grassroots PCO. She's committed to being accountable to the Central Committee and the general public. She believes there are many areas of board operations that can be improved, such as transparency in the decision-making process and making the Central Committee aware of the board's actions, both good and bad. She'll make sure the board adheres to and complies with our bylaws, policies, and procedures. She will emphasize the fiduciary responsibility the board has to the Central Committee and ensure we are protected against personal loss. I believe Cecily will be an excellent chair. She has many of the leadership attributes needed to make an organization successful. She's a straight shooter who's not afraid to stand alone against the crowd. She'll be a strong supporter of all Republicans, regardless of faction. And if she does her job right, she'll piss off everybody equally. So if you support her vision of building a grassroots machine focused on winning elections, please join me and vote for Cecily Wright for Spokane County Chair.
And just as a reminder, those who are nominating, it's 2 minutes for the first, 1 for the second, 3 minutes for each candidate. And we'll do all the nomination speeches and then hear from the 2 candidates. So, 1 minute.
Mr. Chair, PCOs. Donna O'Leary, 4437. I've known Cecily for a few years now. One of my first memories is of an evening where a few of us volunteers got together to prepare call letters for an upcoming Central Committee org meeting. Cecily joined others to print letters, address envelopes, stamp the envelopes, stuff the envelopes, and mail the envelopes. She knows how important it is to follow the bylaws for the Central Committee. She knows that she's been an integral part of our Republican Party for many years. She knows how to lead an organization, as she has done so very well as an organizer of the Northwest Grassroots Movie Night, where she organized speakers to attend and educate attendees on matters relevant to our area. She also was on the Eastern Washington Trump campaign organizer. She's a mentor to many
and for just reason. I've worked with her and seeing her work firsthand. I know she's the right person to lead us. We have much work to do to elect Republican candidates. With her help, we will succeed in doing so. I ask that you vote for Cecily.
Okay, and we'll hear from the next nominators as well. It's Jennifer Thomas. You have a speech not to exceed 2 minutes.
No problem, because I don't have a formal speech prepared. Tonight, Stanton was ready to run for board, and I personally think that because this is not an organizational meeting and it's an appointment meeting, that there should be more than one person that we are offered as a candidate to run. And Stanton was willing to. In realizing that there was a conflict, Debbie stepped up. I strongly endorse Debbie because I have seen Debbie be a peacemaker. Debbie was a secretary for the Spokane GOP. She's helped work on our major events with Lincoln Day. She's supported all of the candidates who run for Spokane GOP and not cherry-picked her favorites. And since 2012, she served faithfully as a PCO. She has longevity and commitment to this organization. And mostly, I am just so grateful that she is willing to say, I see the conflict, I see the disagreements, and I'm willing to step in and bring logic and a calm tone and voice of reason and help unite this party. So thank you, Debbie.
Mr. Krause.
Good evening, Gareth Krause, 7025. I got to know Debbie while I was the budget chair for the Spokane GOP committee, and she was a very faithful and conscientious and loyal supporter of Republican causes. She's been a PCO for over 14 years, helped with all of the fundraisers that the party has been having over the past several years. Lincoln Day supporter and organizer. I would be happy to support her as the new chair for this party, and I urge your vote in her support. Thank you.
All right, so we'll hear from both of our candidates now at this point. So, right, if you would come up and share, you get 3 minutes. So, well, I'll have my timer up here for you. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for attending tonight. I feel sort of badly. This is the warmest evening of the year so far, and I'm sure all of you would be much, rather be out in your yards doing yard work and things that way. So sorry about all this, and sorry it's taken a little longer than we were hoping it would. So I guess you can tell by the number of people that are interested in this position, it's really not very highly sought after. So why am I running? That is a good question. I've not been involved with the Spokane County GOP for as long as some of you, but I have been fortunate to have been involved since 2010. And I've seen the board work well, even with the ever-present divisions in the party that just don't really seem to go away. So I know that we can work together. The focus and the purpose and the objectives of this organization, I just want to bring them back to you. These are in the bylaws. To promote the election of Republican candidates in Spokane County, Washington State, and national elections. To conduct the political and business affairs of the Republican Party in Spokane County consistent with the best interests of all people under our government. And to collect and disperse funds in support of good government, in support of the Central Committee affairs, and in support of the election of Republican candidates. Remember, this is the Spokane County Republican Central Committee. It's not the National Committee, it's not the State Committee, but it's Spokane County's Republican Central Committee. So first and foremost, we need to work locally and focus on our local issues and our great local candidates. In a top 2 state like ours, it's easy to be divided.
You like one candidate, I like another, and darn it, they're both Republicans. We all know that only one of those people can win, but after the election, the division seems to last, and that creates sides, and it festers. It's not good for any of us, and it's certainly not good for the Republican Party. So a major goal of mine is to do everything possible to lessen the division that presently exists. One thing I'd like to emphasize is that I have institutional knowledge of the powers and the limitations of the SCRCC board and how it should function. Right now within the board, it seems too much attention is being paid to operational details and not enough to our purpose and objectives. I'm sure my past experience in both my banking career and owning my own small business will help the organization run more smoothly. I'm looking at this as a job. I have the time to commit to getting the work done. My 3 minutes is almost up. One major focus must be on supporting our elected officials in office. It's a thankless job, especially at the state level. And our support, and that means all of us, is needed. Another would be working with all of you to engage with our Republican constituents throughout the county. We need participation at all levels. The other thing I do need to let you know is that we are behind in the political calendar. You may have noticed that we did not hold caucuses this year, as our bylaws dictate. Little, if any, training has been given to you, the PCOs, concerning the best ways to utilize the GOP advantage system to identify Republicans in your precincts. We have PCOs in less than 60% of our county precincts, and filing week is approaching. And then we have Lincoln Day coming up, which you've heard about and we need help with. So the last thing this board needs is a person who doesn't have the time or who is not familiar with the operations of this organization. So I ask for your vote, and thanks for your attention, and I sure appreciate you giving me a chance at this, and we'll do our very best.
Y'all notice that when I started coming, she got leaned away from me to Dave, if you'd come up, have you share as well.
Okay, so quickest speech ever. I wanted to let you know the reason why I'm running. I feel it's important to have more than one person to vote for, especially at such an important position in our party. So I am willing to step forward and do this. I feel that being the chairman is a great responsibility, and I want to let you know why I can fill this position. I have been a PCO since 2012. I have not been a PCO for 14 years, as was previously stated, but I have been since 2012, and I've been involved in other organizations. I have organized many fundraisers. I have run many events. I know how to do this. I also own my own business. My husband and I have a construction business in town, and we work very hard at that. I'm the bookkeeper for that, so I know a lot about budgeting and about keeping books and how to run a business that way. So I do have some qualifications there. I have, in my time since being in Spokane and as a PCO, met many wonderful people, many hardworking people, many people who have run for many positions, and have tried very hard to change the way our party is viewed in Spokane, how it is run. And I appreciate all that they have done, and I want to build on those principles that they have laid down, because our party is very important. We need to make sure that we are known in the community. We need to reach out to other people, our neighbors and our friends who don't even know that we're Republican, and help them to understand why we believe the way we believe and why it's important for us to be a united party. So these are the kind of things I would like to bring to the committee and be able to focus on, as well as appreciate the fact that Stephanie has worked terribly hard in the last couple of years that she has been in the party, and really done a lot of training, really offered up a lot of training opportunities. And it's very difficult to reach out to people and make those trainings happen. And I really appreciate what she's done, and I'd like to build on that too, because she has really put in a lot of effort to help us be a united party. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is that we can't go into such an important position without really remembering that we're all people. We all have ideas, and one person doesn't necessarily represent all of our personal ideas. So that being said, I think that my opponent probably has similar ideas because we're all Republican. But maybe I have a different way of approaching the same problem. And it's okay. That's important to know that we're all working together as people. It's not one way or the other. And that's what I'd like to bring to the committee. I'd like to bring to the fact that we can all work together and make Spokane an amazing and wonderful place to be a Republican and elect people who will represent the majority of our ideas so that we can move forward and become a more well-known party and a more loved party, because we know it's hard to be a Republican in our state. But I think we can do it, and I think that we have the opportunity tonight to elect someone that can help us do that, and I really would appreciate your votes. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to our voting process. This will be done by secret ballot. I see our tellers getting prepared here for you. You will come up, grab a, is that purple? Lavender sheet of paper, write one name and one name only on that sheet, either Cecily Wright or Debbie Shupp. And 32 for Debbie Shupp and 1 abstention. Sure, yeah, you want to mic some more.
I could talk loudly, I guess, but, thank you so much for your vote of confidence. Now it's time to go to work. I would like to hear from all of you how this board can more effectively engage with you, the PCOs, and the citizens of the county. Our opposition this election is highly motivated to get the vote out. Unfortunately, hate seems to be their major motivational force. And we need to be just as energized to increase our numbers and keep our country moving forward. I do believe love of country, and that's what you guys love, right? Our country, our form of government. I mean, it's just, you gotta love this country. And if you love our country that much, it can overcome the hate that they are exhibiting. But we've got to get energized. We have to be more motivated. Right now, we have 2 events coming up quickly. We have the filing week for the candidates coming up the week of May 14th and our Lincoln Day celebration. Lincoln Day is the major fundraiser for the year, and we really need help with this. I'm asking Stephanie Cates and Jennifer now to please stay involved, because I think the last 2 Lincoln Days have probably been the best that we've had in all the time I've been involved. Appreciated, and Stephanie just put her heart and soul into Lincoln Days, and we can't let her go. So please attend. First, we need to attend. We need to invite friends. We need to invite neighbors. And, we're looking for volunteers for this, so we're going to be asking all of you to volunteer and to find other people that want to get involved. I mean, the way you keep people involved and excited in things is keeping them volunteering. So again, thank you. Be ready to go to work this election season. Deborah Miles, are you still here? She's our state committee woman and the new Lincoln Day chair. And I'd like Deborah to give the group a quick update, and then the PCOs of 3B are going to meet to elect a new district leader. So because she has some good things to tell you about Lincoln Day, and so I want her to come up here and say something. First, I preach rules, I preach them all the time. So when I'm wrong, I'm going to say I'm wrong. I was wrong. Okay? I should not have voted. So thank you for your understanding. I read one part of the bylaws. It's very clear, actually, in another part. So, hey, my bad. The next thing is Lincoln Day. We have 2 amazing speakers. Jennifer and Stephanie got for us Jason Chaffetz and Denise Varela. It's going to be fabulous. We need help in all areas. We're 1 month off. We're having a meeting tomorrow night at the GOP office. If you're interested, show up. Okay, 6 o'clock. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, so that concludes our business for this evening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making time in your schedule. If you are in 3B, if you just kind of come towards the front, we're going to have that election for district leaders, all PCOs from 3B. Please come forward. Other than that, the meeting is adjourned.
Good to see you. Well, they do that. Actually, Cecily's supposed to be running the meeting. Sometimes well, I do. What's up with Susan? And Susan? We're 3-0 against Gates. Thank you so much. 3-0. Came after me. She tried to get in me, not in there. She lost that vote. She went after Beth. She lost that vote. She went after Cecily. She lost that vote. So we're 3-0 against Gates regime. Oh, the regime. Yeah. She's very much a part of it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so the results of the vote, I have that for you, is 77 for Cecily Wright, 32 for Debbie Shupp, and 1 abstention. So, Cecily Wright. Sure, yeah, you want to mic some more.
I could talk loudly, I guess, but, thank you so much for your vote of confidence. Now it's time to go to work. I would like to hear from all of you how this board can more effectively engage with you, the PCOs, and the citizens of the county. Our opposition this election is highly motivated to get the vote out. Unfortunately, hate seems to be their major motivational force. And we need to be just as energized to increase our numbers and keep our country moving forward. I do believe love of country, and that's what you guys love, right? Our country, our form of government. I mean, it's just, you gotta love this country. And if you love our country that much, it can overcome the hate that they are exhibiting. But we've got to get energized. We have to be more motivated. Right now, we have 2 events coming up quickly. We have the filing week for the candidates coming up the week of May 14th and our Lincoln Day celebration. Lincoln Day is the major fundraiser for the year, and we really need help with this. I'm asking Stephanie Cates and Jennifer now to please stay involved, because I think the last 2 Lincoln Days have probably been the best that we've had in all the time I've been involved. They need to be appreciated, and Stephanie just put her heart and soul into Lincoln Days, and we can't let her go. So please attend. First, we need to attend. We need to invite friends. We need to invite neighbors. And, we're looking for volunteers for this, so we're going to be asking all of you to volunteer and to find other people that want to get involved. I mean, the way you keep people involved and excited in things is keeping them volunteering. So again, thank you. Be ready to go to work this election season. Bethel Miles, are you still here? She's our state committee woman and the new Lincoln Day chair. And I'd like Beva to give the group a quick update, and then the PCOs of 3B are going to meet to elect a new district leader. So, because she has some good things to tell you about Lincoln Day, and so I want her to come up here and say something. First, I preach rules, I preach them all the time. So when I'm wrong, I'm going to say I'm wrong. I was wrong. okay? I should not have voted. So thank you for your understanding. I read one part of the bylaws, it's very clear actually in another part, so hey, my bad. The next thing is Lincoln Day. We have two amazing speakers. Jennifer and Stephanie got for us Jason Chaffetz and Denise Borelli. Don't miss out on this. It's going to be fabulous. We need help in all areas. We're 1 month off. We're having a meeting tomorrow night at the GOP office. If you're interested, show up. Okay, 6 o'clock. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, so that concludes our business for this evening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making time in your schedule. If you are in 3B, if you just kind of come towards the front, we're going to have that election for district leaders, all PCOs from 3B.
Lord Carter? Deputy Brett? Mike Vega? CJ? Excuse us? Tim Mann?
Here.
And Lauren Casal.
Right here, ma'am.
Okay, the reason you're here is because Jennifer has found with family health problems and things and horrible serious problems that she can no longer handle the district leader position. So your district leader position is empty. So you need to, amongst yourselves, choose a person that you feel is going to represent you well. That doesn't mean they phone you every time there's something that they want to find out how you're going to, how would you vote? You're electing them to represent you on the board, and so that they know decorum and they know what the board is about. So I think, are there any nominations for a district leader?
Yeah.
Will you pick that up again?
I can.
I second. Okay, so Fred nominated, you seconded. Are there other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? I'll say it one more time. Are there any other nominations? Okay, Tim, you can nominate. Second nomination. And what does that mean to you to be nominated as district leader and how can you represent?
I can send you one. Well, I represent you based on the party platform. That we follow our bylaws as PCOs that today. And how it's written, we want to change bylaws, we want to do it the proper way. So that's basically how I represent the party in law and order. I support our president. I support our Republicans in office, and we need to pick up some house seats. We need to pick up our city council. We live in a beautiful city. As far as the plants are on, I don't know if you've been seeing news coverage lately, but they need to change our city council, change our legislators, and we're the only people in this county, in the 3rd district, that have Democrat representatives, and so they don't represent us. So I think we can work to change that. So I've always been a loud voice on the board for the 3rd district because the rest of the county is pretty red. So we've got basically the Republican Party has us surrounded, so now they just got to go and help us out.
Congratulations, Tim. You're now the district leader.
Whether it's congratulations or commiseration, yeah.
Thank you.